My name's Anthony, and I'm here with Save the Kids. We today are speaking on behalf of Save the Kids, a national grassroots organization with chapters throughout the U.S. dedicated to the ending the incarceration of youth and the school to prison pipeline. We would like to first thank the organizers, not so many other organizations, of this event, and all the 5th Ward and City Council candidates for coming today. There are less than 50% of African American youth graduating high school in the Twin Cities, and approximately 97% of those youth incarcerated in Hennepin Juvenile Detention Center, right down the street from us, are youth of color. With these two facts, how will you, as a member of the City Council, create policies and procedures in the near future to train all law enforcement officers to be more culturally educated and aware of youth of color's culture, behaviors, so they are less likely to make racially charged remarks, brutality and murder of youth of color, assume youth of color are threats, and support youth of color staying in school and not filling up the prisons? Thank you so much.
All right, the first candidate to answer this question will be Long Yang. You have 2 minutes.
I feel like I'm hitting the lottery every single time. That's drawing me first all the time, my goodness. Wow, if I was in a drawing room, I'd be winning a lot of stuff. But, you know, here's the thing, is that, you know, when people on the streets ask me, how do you feel about the police in Minneapolis, this is my answer. I want to love our police department. I want to love our police department. But there's not a lot to love at this point because of all the incidents that we've seen. And as a North Sider, it's hard to just have the trust in our police that we should have. And, you know, I'm a person of color, and I just think that, you know, I'm terrified if I get pulled over on the North Side here. And that's the thing that has to change about it, is that, you know, one, my perception has to change, but a lot of people who live here, their perception has to change as well. And our police department has a responsibility to take care of that. Their mission is to serve with compassion. Well, they need to serve with more compassion than what they already do right now, because right now, I don't see much of it. And we need to work hard to push them to do that. And, you know, I think this is the thing, is that, you know, we should push for community policing. And what that means is we should get them out on the streets, walking the beat, talking to people, getting to know people, and not just be the people who we call when we have an issue. Because I will tell you all this. I've called many a times, and when folks come to my door, the police officers, they just say, you know, that's the cost of living in North Minneapolis. And that's just unacceptable. I mean, that just cannot happen where we live here, because that deteriorates the faith that we as citizens have in our police department. And like I said, I mean, don't get me wrong, I mean, I want to love our police department, because that's the only show in town, and we want them to be the best that they can be for all of us, because, you know what, I'm a lawyer, I hear the lawyer jokes, but, you know, when people are in trouble, they call lawyers. And in this situation, the cops are the same way. When we are in trouble, we want to have faith in our police department, and we need to train them better so that they treat all of us as citizens just like anywhere else. Thank you.
Our next candidate will be Kel Severson. You have 2 minutes.
Well, the police department is failing us in North Minneapolis, okay? And like I said, I'm not doing this job to make friends, okay? The police department, I mean, they're killing our kids, okay? And one bad apple can spoil them all, is what's said out there, all right? I just had, you know, my neighbor was just harassed a couple days and thrown on the ground by the police. So I'm really struggling with the police department. But I got an idea, though. Here's my idea. When you go into, this is a common practice that you're seeing with education. When a school is failing, they start over. So let's fire all the police in our department and start over. No, I'm serious. Let's start over. Okay? When we have folks out here, and you know what? I see it every single day. You know, I need the police to work too. I need them to keep me and my family safe. But you know what? Right now, that's not happening. All right? So let's fresh start the police department. And then where we can go with this is we need to figure, and I know it's against the law, so people are going to say, well, that's against the law, but we need a residential requirement for the police in our community. So when I have the black boy coming down the street and borrowing my tools every day to fix his bike, he likes that. So if I have a police officer doing the same thing, maybe they'll respect that police officer a little bit more. Maybe that police officer will see that kid as an asset and not a liability. Number two, the police need to be walking the streets, and the other thing is they need to be on horseback. Kids are really attracted to the horses. They go down my streets all the time. The kids want to run, they want to play, they want to figure out what they are. So that's another thing. The last thing, I only got a few seconds left, is PAL is doing some good things, the Police Activities League. So we need to help the Police Activities League grow and be a little bit bigger. And what that is cops coaching kids, not just in athletics, but arts and other things as well. At North High, we're doing it right now. My head football coach is a police officer. Our assistant is a police officer, and our kids respect him, and they don't look down on him, and it's a wonderful thing. So that's what needs to happen.
Thank you, Kay. Our next candidate is going to be Brett Buckner. You have 2 minutes.
It is about relationships. First and foremost, when I was the president of the NAACP, I fought hard and actually was able to get an individual by the name of William McManus to be our police chief. He started to change the whole culture, and he fought tooth and nail. And unfortunately, we were not able to retain him because all the things that you guys were mentioning, he did. And that's the reason why I fought hard to get him up here from Dayton, Ohio. Right now, he's in San Antonio, Texas, leading one of the largest departments in the country and doing quite well. So we've been there, we've done that. We had residency requirements for the police until the contract changed. Guess what? We get to do the contract again. And that's what we're going to do. The other major thing is I agree with walking on the beat, and that's what Chief Hartill's been doing. And now it's time to do the next level. It's not just about the police, it's about all of us, because the first line of policing is us, and demanding that we treat ourselves with respect. They are a part of the community, we are a part of the community. Now here's a simple thing to this. Our force right now does not reflect the community. Now here's the reality. If you don't have a good relationship, you don't have that rapport, you don't have the ability to communicate, you're not going to be able to solve the crimes. There's not trust there. We're going to restore trust in a short amount of time, heck or high water, because we cannot afford it anymore. I've called for multiple officers to be fired. Clean out your locker. And that day is coming again.
Thank you. Ian Alexander, you have 2 minutes.
Thank you. The issue of police brutality is actually something that's personal to me. When I first came to Minnesota, I was a grad student at the Humphrey Institute, or Humphrey School now. And I decided to go to Block E to see a movie. Go figure. I'm the only person that ever goes to Block E to see a movie. But I went to Block E to see a movie, and I stopped my car at an intersection. There were two, I'd say, highly intoxicated people that were walking by. And apparently, one of them dropped his cigarettes in front of my car. He didn't know that he thought I ran them over intentionally. So he tried to pull me out of the car because he was angry and he was drunk. And the whole time, there were two Caucasian police officers watching him go on, and they did nothing. So eventually, I pushed them to the ground, I got in my car, I reversed the car, almost hit the person behind me, and then they ran off. And I drove past the police officers, I stopped and I said, "Weren't you going to do anything?" And they both looked at me for a minute, and then they just kept looking straight on and drove away. And so, to say that there are cultural problems in the police department would be the understatement of the century. There's extreme dysfunction in the police department. And quite honestly, a member of the media called me about it the other day. And what was comical is I said, "Of course you need to change the culture." And he said, "They've been saying that for about 30 years. And the reality is, and Brett made a good point, is you need to bring someone in who is going to get it. Now, I have faith in the current chief. However, in the way that the situation in the Apple Valley and the Wisconsin situation was handled, I do not have faith in the police union. And so I think there's going to be some very hard conversations that are going to take place in the future. And there are going to be conversations that a city council member, no matter who it is going to have to react to and to be proactive in the way he